Hi everyone, this is Graham from LSATprep180.com, and I'm here to explain the second game from the June 2007 LSAT. If you haven't already looked at this game, you should do so now, so pause the video, Google June 2007 LSAT, it's the free LSAT available online, and take a look. Read over the rules, because you'll have a much easier time following along with this game if you're at least basically familiar with what's going on. Alright. For those of you now that you are familiar with the game, let's take a look. This is a grouping game, and it's a bit different than a lot of grouping games, so not necessarily harder. We've got a film festival with 3 films that show on one of 3 days, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, as I've drawn on the screen, and there are only 3 films, Greed, Harvest, and Limelight. I'm going to be calling them G, H, and L for the rest of the game, and all of them have to appear at some point. They only appear once each day, and we can have up to 3 films each day. They could all appear on any given day. So, there are only 3 rules given. On Thursday, we know H is shown, and no film is shown after it. Here's how I'm going to represent it. This line that I'm drawing across the screen indicates the last films of the day. So here's H, it's last, and I could have something like G, L. This just means that G and L are beforehand. It doesn't even really matter what their order is. It could be L, G. But they're all before H. Anything below that line is the last film of the day. So, first rule, H is on Thursday, and it's the last film of the day. Second rule, so on Friday, we have either Greed or Limelight, G or L, and not both of them. If we have L, we can't have G earlier on. And they're the last ones of the day, so they're below that line. Saturday, same type of rule. This time it's G or H, not both, and they're the last one of the day. Now, normally on games, there's a whole lot of deductions you can make. There's nothing to do here. We've just drawn all of these, and that's it. So it's then important to sort of think in general terms about what could be true, what we need to have. For instance, we need to have one of each of the variables. At most, we could have 7 films, and I'll tell you why. Because there's only 3 films that could go each day maximum, so that makes 9. But we can't have both G and L on Friday, for example, so that takes out 1. We can have both G and H on Saturday, that takes out 2. 7 max. That'll come up on question 8. Okay, but for question 6, this is one of the list questions. They're very common. It's the first question on the LSAT. And the fastest and best way to do these is to pick one rule and use it to eliminate wrong answer choices. So, you might pick the GL rule. We know that on Friday, G or L is going to be the last thing, and G and L can't both be together. Now just scan through the questions, look at Friday, and find out if any of these violate it. B does. On Friday, on B, we have Greed, then Limelight. You can't have them both. So B is wrong. Cross out B. And on answer choice E, we have on Friday Limelight, then Harvest. That doesn't work because Limelight has to be the last one. Answer choice E is wrong. So let's try another one. G or H have to be on Saturday. That actually doesn't look like it does. So let's try H has to be last on Thursday. So we're looking at answer choices A, C, and D. And we see in answer choice D, Limelight's after H. No good? That answer choice is not correct. Now, it looks like we're actually out of rules, but we still have answer choices A and C to look through. Then it's time to just sort of take a step back and think about what might be wrong. What else have we got? Well, we know we have to have one film. Each film has to appear in the festival at least once. And A, there's actually no G's. No G at all. So A cannot be the right answer. We need to have at least one G. C is the right answer to this question. Done. The first question is always a good test of your rules, because if you end up not being able to get the right answer, if you've got 2 or more answers that seem right, you probably missed something. But since we got this right, we seem pretty good with our rules, and we can move on. Number 7. What cannot be true? Sometimes they just throw a really easy question at you, and you shouldn't second guess yourself. If you're absolutely sure of your rules, you're right. 7 is A. Harvest is the last film shown on each day of the festival. We're looking for what can't be true. Well, the reason this can't be true is because on the Friday, G and L either G or L has to be the last film. It can't be Harvest. That's really easy. So A is the right answer. Cannot be true because Harvest cannot be the last film shown on Friday. Done. 8. If Limelight is never shown again once Greed is shown, what's the max number of showings? Okay, this is an interesting question. You remember how I said before that the maximum number was 7? Because we have to have one of either G or L not there on Friday, and one of either G or H not there on Saturday. So, at most, we could have 7, even without an additional restriction. And these answer choices run from 3 to 7. So, it's looking kind of doubtful that it's going to be E. The real question is, how high can we get it given this new restriction? Because if we put G anywhere earlier than Saturday, that means we can't put L earlier than Saturday. It's often easier to think through these things by putting it on paper, so let's give it a try. I'm going to put G on Saturday. I know we can't have G and H both on Saturday, actually, so I'm just going to erase that, and G is the one we pick on Saturday out of G and H. Then we're going to put L before it. We're actually going to put L on every day, just to fill up the maximum. And then we're going to also put H on Friday. That only leaves us with 6. We can't put H on Saturday because it was going to be either G or H, so we can't have H. And there's no way to add more than this, because if you put a G on Friday, then you have to take out the L. So we're done. There's at most 6 you can have. Answer choice is D. Moving on to, answer choice question 9. So, if Greed is shown exactly 3 times, Harvest is twice, and Limelight is once, well, it must be true. This is a local rule. I always like to draw these questions. We know Greed is there 3 times, so we can just draw that in. It's got to be on Friday, so we can't have Limelight Friday. It's got to be on Thursday, so we can't have H on Thursday. And we've got to put G here on Thursday. If Harvest is shown twice, well, we saw it can't go on Saturday. It already is Thursday, so it's going to have to be added Friday. And Limelight is shown once. Well, the only place we know we can't have Limelight is Friday. So it could go Thursday or it could go Saturday. There's nothing that tells us that either has to be true. So that's all we can know for sure. Now it's time to look at the answer choices, and if you can prove it false, it's not the right answer. So all 3 films are shown on Thursday. They could be true if we put Limelight there, but if we put Limelight on Saturday instead, we don't need to have all 3 on Thursday. On B, 2 films are shown on Saturday. That's the reverse. That could be true if we put Limelight there, but since we could put Limelight Thursday, it doesn't have to be true. 9, Limelight and Harvest are both shown on Thursday. This is kind of a repeat. Could be true, but we could put Limelight on Saturday, and it doesn't have to be true. And D, Greed is the only film shown on Saturday. Again, could be true, but if we put Limelight there on Saturday, then Greed doesn't have to be the only thing. So we're left with E, and that is the right answer, fortunately. We haven't done anything wrong. Harvest and Greed are both shown on Friday. There's Greed. There's Harvest. No matter where we put Limelight on Saturday or Thursday, we have to have Harvest and Greed on Friday. Done. Answer choice E is the answer for number 9. Finally, question 10. Limelight is shown 3 times, Harvest is shown twice, and Greed is shown once. What's the complete and accurate list of the films that could be the first film shown on Thursday? Now, I know on the last question I just said draw everything out, but sometimes you can speed yourself up a bit. The first film shown on Thursday. Well, we know the last film shown on Thursday has to be Harvest. And therefore, the first film shown on Thursday can't be Harvest, because you can only have each film shown once per day. And would you look at that, 3 of the answer choices have Harvest in them. A, C, and E all have Harvest. Those can't be right, because this is a list of all the things which could be first on Thursday. Harvest could never be first on Thursday. Those are wrong. Wrong, wrong, wrong. We're left with only B and D to choose between. And you can see that those actually both have Limelight in them, which means that Limelight definitely can go first on Thursday. The only question left is whether or not Greed can. So let's back up a minute. Greed is shown exactly once, so we're trying to see if we can have Greed 1 time there. Limelight is shown 3 times, so we select Limelight there and put Limelight here. And lastly, Harvest is shown twice, select Harvest there. And that works. You can have Greed or Limelight first. So I hope this has been useful. Once again, this has been Graham from LSATprep180.com. And check out the other videos on my channel if you want more logic games explanations.